underneath the baseboards at the moment, starting to connect up the wiring, trying to simplify it as much as I can so that I've only got a few cables to disconnect from one board to another. Pretty much done 2 boards so far. I've got this one to do. These are all relatively simple. Let me get round to this one. The drawer and all the point motors, servos. It's still relatively simple as it is just one long board. But I've got to remember how to take the boards apart when the time comes. So it'll all be interesting. I'll crack on, make everything as simple as possible, and then move on from there. So here we go. So I've got the pickaxe editor up and I've found the latest software update that I've been working on, version 1.4. And as I'm doing the rewiring of the layout to make it easier to split it up eventually when it needs to come down, I thought this would be a great opportunity to upgrade the circuit boards with new software to run the servos. So that software has been downloaded onto this chip. Yeah. And I now need to put it onto that board before moving on to the next one. I've got 5 boards that need updates, and then they need to be reprogrammed. Hopefully it won't take too long. So I'm going to swap that chip out now, and I'll probably use this one to program everything. So we'll move on from there. I've been working on upgrading the circuit boards. This is one of my original servo controllers, which I've now updated with the version 1.4 software that I've got. Did have to make a few minor adjustments because, like some of the other ones, this one has a button which you can just make out down in the bottom right corner, and that's actually connected to the pin of the chip which controls the network on the newer boards. So that was a little bit confusing when I went to try and program it and nothing worked. But I've made the adjustment now in the software, reprogrammed the board, and now we're going to put it back in place. Right, so I have reinstalled the circuit board, reconnected it. As you can see, as I'm going along now, I'm labelling up all the cables so I know where everything goes. So that network 4 board is now connected. The one next to it on the right hand side has now got to be disconnected, labelled up, and that can go down to be programmed. So we're going to get that done, bring it back up and reinstall it, and then that's the last of the servo boards, all updated. And that is the last of the circuit boards. All 5 of them done now for the servos. So we'll be able to power the track back up and make sure everything's working correctly. But hopefully that's another job ticked off the list, one I've been meaning to do for quite a while. So now I'm going to update my little table that I've got written out now for the circuit board so I know what's what. and move on to the next job. Well, it seems like we had a few issues. Everything on this control panel flashed. Every single light was on and off, on and off. That signal you can see there, that was flashing red green, which usually means it's in programming mode. It's off at the moment because I've disconnected it. Everything else, all the boards underneath, they were all resetting themselves every few seconds. Yeah, everything was, well, going mad, really. And it's frustrating. So I decided to call it a day that night when it happened. That was Friday night. And busy Saturday. Was planning on putting a video out on Friday night for Saturday morning. But obviously didn't get round to finishing off what I wanted to do, so it's been delayed until this week. And yeah, it turns out, I think I have to connect everything back up, that it was the network cable that I've got, which you can see is the grey one, which goes into that knuckle connector there. So as far as I can work out, it was making intermittent contact, and therefore it was throwing everything out. Everything was throwing a wobbly, nothing wanted to work. So I've disconnected loads of stuff. I've tried a board on its own, it was programmed, it was working properly, put it back in, wasn't working. I thought the only thing it can be is a connection between the control pad and the rest of the network, and that's the first point of call. So I took the cable out, cleaned it up, folded it over, made sure I got good contact, put it back in, and all the servo controllers that I've got plugged in at the moment are working absolutely fine now. So it's just a case of connecting everything else back up. Hopefully I know where all my wiring goes, because I've disconnected quite a lot of cables. And yeah, it's back to some more testing. So, but hopefully all will be good. I've got one more board to do, which is the one that controls the green LEDs on the control panel here, which is this board here. And it's just to make it easier to program if I need to, so I don't have to disconnect it from the network. But that'll be a job at some point. But for now, we're going to give everything a test run, get some trains running around and see how they work. So here we are again. The Mallard is going back to the CMC for a third time, and this time I've asked for a refund. Just not happy with it. It stopped running again. It's not the smoothest of runs, it's not the quietest, and I'm not getting the enjoyment out of it that I should be. It's not the TMC's fault. They've been really good. Every time I've sent it back, they've done their best to get it back to me as soon as they can. And I can't fault them, and I will be purchasing from them again. I've had a couple of issues. I've got a point just in front of you there. Stopped working. Turns out it was the one that I'd purchased from a model shop locally, which someone had sneakily swapped out for an old one. I got it working. It worked for several years really, but yep, kept getting a dead spot, so I've swapped it out for a new one, and all is good again. I thought I was having a problem down here with the second of the 3 points in the middle of the screen. Again, the Mallard seems to be the problem, stopping on the points, but I checked the continuity, everything seemed fine, everything else seems to run over it, so I'm leaving that one in place because it's a little bit more tricky to deal with. And as you can see, my class 42 is happily going around the track. I've taken up the board across the top of the fiddle yard, just so I could work on under here. I've managed to get all the circuit boards working now, everything's back where it should be. Just follow the class 42 round. With my rake of Pullmans. And we'll have the War Department austerity class just coming round. Signals all in sync again. Into the fiddle yard. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.